Alien license, the only object in charted space that's produced more mediocrity than Barbara Bush's vagina. This franchise has had more hands on it than Sasha Grey at a millipede orgy. Alien is perhaps one of the most seminal works in all of film, but show me a game from this series that doesn't eat dick for free, and I will show you one bold-faced fucking liar, provided you have a mirror handy. But it's not for lack of trying. Every developer from Rebellion to Mythic to Kesmai, and even the hoary hosts of LJN have cast their seed into the fallow womb of this franchise, but I can count on 2 fingers the number of Alien games worth expending the calories required to operate the goddamn joystick. When you really get down to brass tacks, it's one of the most baffling qualitative droughts in the history of gaming. Here we have a multimedia franchise that is a pioneer in both sci-fi and horror, 2 genres that have positively printed money over the last 2 decades, and Alien still somehow rolls snake eyes. Until fucking now. Isolation excels at horror, it excels at atmospherics, and perhaps the most important hurdle to clear for any game bearing the mark of this franchise, it actually manages to excel as a game. Alien Isolation, at least at its thankfully numerous best moments, emphasizes atmosphere over action, in the process tearing a page or 500 from the oft-plagiarized playbook of System Shock 1 and 2. After a sad succession of titles drawing water from the well of James Cameron, wherein the titular Alien has gone from being an unstoppable elemental force to just another big black bullet sponge with a double donger for a dome, it's indescribably refreshing playing a title where the alien is effectively and ambiguously full-on fucking invulnerable. The most caustic abasement James Cameron ever subjected this franchise to, apart from Paul Reiser's Pompadour,
James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron,
was when he elected to insipidly detail the physical limitations of the alien itself. Fear of the unknown is the single most penetrating abject terror a human being can conceivably experience. Just ask the guy who tried to upskirt Ann Coulter. It's hard to be frightened of something when you're acutely aware that a single shotgun blast of the dong will turn it into a pile of steam and gack. Which is why when the alien of Isolation, no matter how many times you yoga flame his ass, just keeps lumbering forward like the acid-spewing engine of terror it was always meant to be, the player's first and often only correct instinct is to find a closet and fucking hide. The Travolta reflex, if you will. If I have one consistent gripe, it's with the mediocre mechanics of the actual stealth. System Shock 2's stealth was a viable gameplay alternative because it was made in the fucking Dark Engine. Light, shadow, robust sound propagation, all these copious clandestine virtues, System Shock 2, by the way of its game engine, inherited from Thief the Dark Project. What Alien Isolation has on offer is moderate milquetoast sneakifying where line of sight reigns supreme, footsteps make about as much noise as a distant spider fart, and the player seems just as visible in a pitch black hallway as they are fully nude dancing a lambada in the middle of Times Square. It rarely elevates into a full-blown irritant as the level designers are Howard Dean liberal with both air vent and locker placement, even if it does beg the obvious question of why there are scarcely 5 cumulative square feet of wall on the entire station that don't have a locker awkwardly affixed to it. Residential area lockers I get. I'll even go along with shitloads of lockers in engineering. Gotta keep those tools somewhere, I suppose, but lockers in communications? In the fucking storage area? It's storage! The entire section is one gigantic fucking locker. Here's a thought. Maybe instead of wallpapering every available inch of the station with improbably placed hidey holes, you could, I don't know, give me anything the fuck else to hide in. Half the game I feel like I'm in the Lakers locker room. Except in this one I might actually see some stars. As grievances go, the sparse stealth forms something of a tag team with the checkpoint-based save system. Why? Fucking why? Checkpoints in 2014? Well, you see, Razor-Fisted enhances the terror. Bullshit. You can save anywhere the fuck you want in System Shock 2, the game Alien Isolation wishes to tap dance and Christ it was. Checkpoints need to take the midnight train to the fuck-awayville for exactly 2 reasons. 1, if you fuck them up, for example, inadvertently placing them on opposite sides of the continent, you quintuple the likelihood that your game will devour raw asshole. 2, even if you don't fuck them up, best case scenario, you spend half the butt-fucking game sliding cards into payphones like the douchey Verizon hipster with OCD, violently shattering player immersion in the process. You either spend half the runtime savagely spewing obscenities at your television set, or you spend half the game being reminded you're playing a game. Checkpoints. Not even once. Which is a shame because Alien Isolation goes 15 trillion miles out of its way to facilitate player immersion, piling detail atop painstaking environmental detail to an extent we haven't witnessed in a AAA title since the release of Deus Ex Human Revolution. Every hallway, ventilation shaft, and control room conforms to the logic of the game world, and each feels convincingly lived in, though I'd be lying to your face if I claimed the samey gray corridors of Sebastopol Station, where you spend the vast majority of the game, visually compares with the reality-blurring immersion of the Nostromo DLC and its copy-paste job, the torrents. Since launch, the most coherent critique from our good pals in the gaming media appears to center around the Alien itself. To paraphrase, it's too hard! The Alien, they claim, appears able to predict every move and permutation thereof, to discover you no matter how ingeniously you secret your pert Ripley ass away. And while they're wrong, they're also sorta right. Their position isn't outright fallacious so much as poorly articulated. The problem isn't that the Alien is too smart, it's that it's gratingly fucking stupid, and as a measure of concealing this fact, the game designers have seen fit to fuse him directly to your ass, especially when it makes no fucking sense. If there's a completely unarmed jazz quintet tearing into an impromptu rendition of Harlem Nocturne on the promenade across the station with signs slung from their necks that visibly read, "Lick my homo sapien nuts, you leering alien ass munch," the Alien will be wherever in the fuck you are. If Ripley's rifling through the crew quarters in search of a keycard, guess who's got top bunk? Not because the Alien is believably reacting to auditory and olfactory stimuli, but because some domineering but well-meaning game designer thought it would be cool. And to their credit, it usually fucking is. Except when it isn't. Perhaps most galling of all are how the Alien segments, on fleeting occasions, degenerate into fairly linear set pieces that countermand the core appeal of Alien Isolation. Waddling the fuck around a zero-G catwalk in bullet time being pelted by space dandruff may not be the most non-Euclidean gameplay experience ever conceived, but what it does deliver is the eponymous isolation prescribed by the motherfucking game box. While it's a shame that these fleeting occasions happen to include the ending of the game, the raw immersion of the preceding 99% positively dwarfs it by comparison. Yet another common critique, particularly from the platitude posse at IGN, purports the game is, of all things, too fucking long. No Ryan McCaffrey, the ropey, sinuous advertising cock protruding from your China white asshole is too long. And here again, you've taken a legitimate, albeit negligible fault and articulated it with such irate gamer precision as to make yourself sound like an employee of IGN. Really, the issue isn't that the game is too long, and in the age of video games whose duration rarely exceeds the average bowel movement, is that really a credible slight regardless? No. The pertinent dilemma is that Alien Isolation unwittingly makes itself feel too long by festooning its final act with more false finishes than CM Punk at a massage parlor. Moderation is key with denouement and misdirection. It's cute the first 14 times, but you can only tease the tip for so long before it's time to slide all the way in already. Just ask Colin Moriarty. But egad the atmosphere. I swear by H.R. Geiger's creepy pedo stare, I haven't encountered a first-person experience with this pure a distillation of unbridled atmospheric tension since Thief the Dark Project, facilitated further by the developer's expert sense of the precise moment to lob a face fucker at your forehead, but perhaps doubly important, when the fuck not to. You know you got the player by the pubes when some of the most horrifying sections of your game take place at times when the player is in no discernible danger whatsoever. I tell Dead Space to take notes, but I'm not sure they have the necessary elbow room in EA's corporate coffin. In marrying the dense atmospherics of the original Alien film with a modern horror genre in dire need of edification, Alien Isolation manages to be the first horror video game in a long-ass while that isn't horrifying for all the wrong reasons. I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.